Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Before we move to the issues around Hong Kong, I'd like to first talk about your country's donation of 30 million test kits for Africa for COVID-19. We know that here in South Africa we have a desperate shortage of test kits. Are you able to give us any details of how many of those kits are coming our way and when they'll arrive?
So thank you, Sally, for having me here this evening. And for the testing kits issue, actually, still right now, I cannot give you any details about that because we have to cross-check it with the presidency since that's the announcement from the president's office. But you can be assured of that China will do whatever we can, to supply medical materials, including the testing kits and some PPEs, to our African brothers and sisters. But currently, I have no more details on that yet.
Okay, well, thank you anyway, and it sounds like it is in process. Ambassador Lee, I want to talk to you as well about a group of South Africans that we understand are stuck in China, at least 200 of them, many of them teachers. We understand a lot of them are living in Guangzhou province. Now, our International Relations Department, Naledi Pandor, when I asked her about it, she did not know about it, and a lot of people seem not to know, and they keep trying to reach out to the media. I'm wondering if at all they have reached out to your team at all, and if you have any more information about them. They say they've been stuck in China for over 2 months and they want to come home.
I think it's like that. The latest information we have got from DERCO and also the Ministry of Higher Education is that some South African students who have or who are going to complete their study in China, they are waiting, for the right transportation to be back to South Africa. And now I think both the embassy and the DERCO, we are keeping close touch with each other, and we are discussing the possible way how to get those students back here. And also recently, we have also received calls from here, from the Chinese local community. There is some Chinese people here, they want to also travel back to China as well. So we must find a way, maybe combine the needs of each other so that we can, meet their demands and provide our assistance on that. But we are still, work is still in process, and we're still working on that. If there's any achievement, we'll let you know. Yes, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for those updates. I want to move now to China's broader relationship globally. And the big news, of course, is the criticism that China is coming in from. British Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab is criticizing these potential laws, new security laws for Hong Kong, criticizing them as authoritarian. I'm wondering what your response is to that.
No, I think for the UK, for the high official from UK, its accusation and allegations, to China is totally groundless. For that, China and also the Hong Kong is part of China, and the affairs in Hong Kong are China's internal affairs. I think for that, after the handover of Hong Kong on July the 1st, 1997, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region is governed by the Basic Law and the Chinese National Constitution. So there's no word or paraphrase from the Sino-British Joint Declaration that give any other power to the British side after the handover.
Sure. So, sorry to interrupt, but there was an agreement, a 50-year agreement on autonomy from 1997. And I'm just wondering as well for your response. Tiananmen Square anniversary is coming up on June the 4th in Hong Kong. That has always been marked. It's the 31st anniversary coming up. It's always been marked by a night vigil. We understand that is for the first time in Hong Kong now being cancelled, allegedly because of COVID-19 social distancing. And yet, if you look at the stats around COVID-19 in Hong Kong, they've had 4 deaths and 1,000 infections. Do you really think that's a valid reason to cancel this anniversary vigil on the 4th?
For the issues, because I'm not working in Hong Kong, so mainly my energy on African continent. But before we go to the issues, I want to make clear again, on the U.S. allegation against China. Actually, after the handover of Hong Kong, the UK has no sovereignty, no jurisdiction, and no right of supervision over Hong Kong after its handover. I want to make sure that the joint declaration between China and the UK is a document in history. So we will never allow, that document to be used as an excuse to interfere in Hong Kong affairs, which are China's internal affairs. For that, I want to go back to the issue, on the national legislation on national security in Hong Kong. So the recent adoption of the decision by National People's Congress in China, actually, that's the legal exercise of its legislative right of our top legislature, that's the NPC. So the purpose is very clear, that is to close the loopholes in the Hong Kong SAR with regard to safeguarding national security, so as to maintain peace, stability, and prosperity of Hong Kong, thus to help ensure Hong Kong to be a safer, a more stable, and more prosperous place. So it is natural and legitimate and sovereign right of a country to safeguard the national security. So as the top Chinese legislative body, the NPC has the full authority and power to do so. So the NPC decision and its standing committees ensuing legislation are not contradictory, but complementary with Article 23 of the Basic Law of the Hong Kong SAR. So for the Hong Kong SAR and its residents, safeguarding national security is a must. It's not rather than a choice. So Hong Kong people's rights and interests will not be affected. So, the capitalism here now in Hong Kong will not change. Their legal system in Hong Kong will not change, and also their judiciary system, independent judiciary system, will not change, and high degree of autonomy in Hong Kong will not change. So I think that people's rights, legitimate rights and interests will not change and will not be affected rather than protected, actually. They will be protected with the legislation. So I want to make clear on this point, yes.
Well, thank you very much for that. That is the acting Chinese ambassador to South Africa. Thank you very much for your time.